So I sometimes get asked, usually specifically by Norse pagans, how a person would connect to a animal totem, a spirit animal, or a power animal, or something similar. A couple times I've even been asked about a Patronus. And while all of those terms are either of a specific culture, have problematic sources, or are, from fantasy novels. In the case of a Patronus, that's both fantasy novel and problematic origin. I was taught to do something similar. For the sake of this video, I am going to use the term Hugr-Dyr, effectively mind beast. It's a bad translation, but gets the message across and sets, the theme of being at the very least thematically appropriate. And this is also different than your Filha, which isn't always an animal. But a Hugr-Dyr is an animal spirit that you construct a relationship with. And here's how I was taught to do that. It is likely not historical. You are going to need three things, and the third thing is going to kind of depend on the size of what you have. The first thing you're going to need is something like actually from a living animal, such as this boar tusk I have here. And you're going to need one of Freya's tears. You're going to need a piece of amber. And depending on the size and other situational factors, you're either going to need something to basically tie them together or a bag to keep them both in. Now, with the amber, you are going to you're going to put focus into building the relationship with the spirit of the animal. And either through keeping, the bag on you, or, tying it around, making it a necklace, or so forth, you're going to experience things with the animal. And you are going to build that relationship until your Hugrs can kind of meld. Now, obviously, this is the most dumbed down in that these are the two things that you're mostly going to need. You can add some other stuff to it, but that also influences things. And obviously, not going too far into the kind of books I've been reviewing, I really don't want to say animal self, but... And through what I was taught, it is believed that the Vetir of this animal that you continue to build this relationship with will become something of a guide. Through some of my own experimentation in years past, I would not recommend using, like, if you have a fairly sizable piece of the animal, don't use that as a ritual tool. At least until you know that the relationship and therefore various boundaries on both sides are established and followed through on, as, any relationship has boundaries. But that is a fairly simple and, relatively easily obtainable way to get a Hugr-Dyr. Thank you for watching, and remember to be vigilant.